for news publishers that have a paid model, Google is a great business partner. Google users see the content through Google News or Google Search, and at some point in the process, they may be challenged to become a subscriber. But Google is a very powerful driver of traffic, and for news sites that have paid models, a very significant driver for new subscriptions. So I know that some news publishers resent Google or think that Google's not part of the solution. Once they have a paid model, I think they will feel very differently about Google, and they'll feel that Google is much more friend than enemy. I think it's really now clear that it's very hard for news organizations to function simply on advertising revenue, whether it's their print news organizations or online only news organizations. That online advertising is great, but it's not going to pay all the bills. And for a lot of news brands, we think that some percentage, say 10% of monthly unique visitors, would be very willing to pay for premium access to the content for those brands for which they have a real affinity. And that could have a very significant impact on the profit and loss of some of these news operations. So we'll provide several services. One of them is an e-commerce platform to make it easy for people online to add access to different news brands. One password, one credit card. We're going to make it very, very easy for people to subscribe to their favorite news sites, but also to subscribe to bundles of news sites, all-you-can-read packages, people interested in sports or business or news about California or news about Canada, topics like that, so that rather than having to run into paywalls throughout the web, as I think will otherwise happen, consumers will be able to subscribe through our service to multiple brands. We'll also try to represent news publishers in their discussions with some of the newer devices, like the e-readers, to try to get news publishers better terms than they've gotten so far. So far, they're getting a very small percentage of the revenues, and more importantly, no access to the customer. And we think it's very important for news organizations to have a lot of information about who their subscribers are. I think every news brand has its own core. A local media operation has got great coverage of that locality, content that's not available somewhere else, very differentiated content. And increasingly, I think news publishers will focus on how do we deliver that content in a way that's really useful to people, that is so useful, so valuable, so unique, so differentiated that people are willing to pay to access it. So it will differ from brand to brand, whether it's a financial brand, a business brand, a sports brand, a local brand, an entertainment brand. And some of the access will be by content, some of it may be by the speed of the access. We think there's going to be a lot of experimentation and a lot of different models reflecting the very different brands and very different audience expectations or user reader expectations from those brands.